Do I have 1 day left? Do I have 50 days left? Do I have 20 years left? I don't want to die. I feel like I still have a purpose, but it did and does rock my world. People are scared of her. I'm not scared of her anymore. I used to be, but I'm not scared of her. I just want her to leave, just like she wants me to leave her family alone. I want her to leave me alone.
I am so excited for our two guests today. I mean, Emily, first of all, we always say this person is our number one housewife.
We literally always say you can go back and listen. You are our number one, the OG of the OC, Vicki Gunvalson, and her co-host, Christian Snow. Welcome to the podcast. Christian, this is Vicki's event.
Listen, every event I go to is Vicki's event. I'm happy to be here as a cheerleader. So have at it. Yes.
Before we get into it, because we want to talk all things your new podcast, which is so good. And everyone, if you haven't listened, you have to go listen. But first things first, Vicki, how are you doing? How are you feeling? All the fans are just wanting you healthy. And how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. They said it could take up to 6 months before my brain gets unswollen. The sepsis really did a number on me. I mean, it's Sepsis Awareness Month that I didn't know about, but I had a team of doctors that call me every single day, check my vitals, check my memory, check, everything. And then yesterday I had a gentleman call me from New York that he did a article on Fox News about Sepsis Awareness Month. See, this is what happens. I start to think and it doesn't come out. And they did a whole article on me about just being aware of the signs. It's very similar to a stroke. So I didn't know I was having, a sepsis, brain pneumonia, all that. I was perfectly healthy, I thought, until it hit me. And then when it hit me, the lights went out and I didn't know where I was. I couldn't talk. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. So fortunately, I went into the MRI. Have you guys ever had an MRI in your brain? And I don't even remember getting the MRI. That's how out of it I was.
Wow.
So it was 40 minutes, bang, 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 bang. And then when they unscrew me, they're like, you handled that well. I'm like, I don't even know where I was. Like I completely out. So they thought I had a stroke as well. So everything came back, no stroke. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus. And what I have is something that's going to be, cured. It's just going to take time. So, and time is always something that I'm not anxious for, but it's weird because I don't really care about my emails right now. I don't care about going on social media. I don't care. My staff has been fabulous. I just got to Phoenix. I was in Puerto Vallarta for 4 days trying to get the house renovated and updated and stuff. But I would do something for an hour and then I'm going to sleep. Like I would sleep like 16, 17 hours a day. So I'm feeling like better today. I mean, Christian, you and I saw each other the other day and I couldn't function. I was like slurring and stupid. But I'm so grateful. I had a team of guardian angels around me. I shouldn't really be here because I was driving and I didn't know where I was. And then they misdiagnosed me in the hospital, said I had a sinus disease, sent me home, went back that morning when and I fell asleep in the bathtub. Didn't fall asleep. I passed out in the bathtub.
That part was like, I can't handle that.
Yeah. Michael came home from Phoenix and I had been in the bathtub, we figure about an hour and a half. The water was ice cold. My girlfriend left, made sure I had dinner. I said, I'm gonna go take a bath and go to bed, and lights were out again. So that's when he got me back to emergency and they admitted me right away. 6.5 days I was there. So,
oh my gosh.
So if anybody out there thinks I'm faking it, I have my medical records to prove it. I heard there was some rumors out there that I exaggerated or was faking it, and I want to kill that person. Like, not kill him, but kill him with words and documents. Like, you don't this type of illness. So, and I didn't do it for attention, by the way.
I really believe that when you share this kind of stuff, you may not ever know it, but you're helping someone else, and someone that might experience symptoms that you did might seek help quicker because you shared your story. So forget the haters and the
100%.
naysayers.
I don't care about the haters because I don't read it. So all I know is that's exactly true. So if you are with somebody that's not acting right, because I didn't know I was sick. I didn't know I had pneumonia. I didn't know I had sepsis. I didn't know if it was the people around me knew something was wrong, because I would have just died. I mean, seriously, if I went to sleep and never went to the hospital, I would have died. So the way that they rushed me in and got me hooked up to, 8 bags of IVs, they knew immediately I had sepsis. So you have to really act fast on that, or there's no turning back. So, but it's the people around you that really have to take charge of you, because I didn't know anything. Lights were out.
Follow
And
your
thank God
instinct.
you had those people.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like a lot of people, when they have a near-death experience, which I feel like we can call this, right?
Yeah, it was very
Yes.
serious, very death.
She had at most a 30% chance of survival when she left the hospital.
Yeah.
Because when they misdiagnosed her, the doctor was honest when she came back, and he was sending her home the second time.
Yeah.
He said you stood between like a 10 and 30% chance of survival at most when you walked out the hospital door that day. And that is without Michael rushing her back. So thank God Michael rushed her back. Thank God that by the time he rushed her back, it wasn't too late. I mean, if you look at the amount of times that Vicki, like, not to be morbid, but like could have slipped, and like this could have been bad, and just, there was that brief moment where something swept in and saved the day. There are multiple instances of that. So obviously we said, we knew this was for a reason. And that's like, whenever she started getting better, I was like, you have to talk about this on the pod.
I had a team of like angels. Like, I really feel like God's not done with me yet, right?
No, he's
No.
not. And I was going to say, like, does
So
this
emotional.
change your outlook on life? And you just said earlier, you're like, you don't care about emails. And that's, kind of crazy coming from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Brianna today and the kids and stuff, and she's like, Mom, when are you gonna retire? This has got to be a awakening. My whole life revolves around being with my children, and I can't anymore because they have their families and their life. And so I'm gonna go to see Brianna for a couple weeks in November, and then I'm gonna go out there in a couple weeks, and I just want to be sure I'm not contagious. I want to be sure I'm healthy,
Yeah.
So the pneumonia is still in my right lung. Like, to breathe in, it's hard. But I have a steroid inhaler. I've never had an inhaler in my life, but it does make me reevaluate what I'm doing with my future. Do I have 1 day left? Do I have 50 days left? Do I have 20 years left? I don't want to die. I feel like I still have a purpose, but it did and does rock my world. Like, it rocked my world. I'm never going to be the same from this. And it's a good thing.
Yes.
Good thing.
Yes.
So
absolutely. I feel like you just become more aware of every day, every breath you take, right? You wake up and you're like, thank you, God, for another
and I'm
day.
so appreciative of people that care about me and love me, that, Christian's one of them. Like,
Aw.
we're soul sisters in a weird way, but can I say that to a gay guy? We're soul
Yes.
sisters.
I'd be offended if you said anything else.
He's your friend, your sister, your soulmate.
You're my
Yes.
So I don't want to be all melancholy, because people said the last one I was like crying and emotional, but you know what? It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. So anyway, here we are.
We're glad you're here. So
Woohoo.
as you said, you and Christian have such a tight bond. How did you guys come up with the idea to start the podcast?
So I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while. During COVID, I did do one with Steve, Whoop It Up with Vicki, and Reality.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I listened to it.
And he wanted to be the star and telling me what I was doing wrong. He was Debbie Downer, and I didn't know he was effing somebody around the corner while in my condo. So that whole thing imploded. I wanted this podcast to be with somebody that has a sense of humor, can make me laugh, but also get serious about life and what we're doing. I don't want to gossip about other people. I don't want to hurt other people. I want to be different than what else is out there. So I just wanted this to be different. And when I called Christian, he was like, F yes. So we met a couple of years ago at my 60th birthday party in Puerto Vallarta that I just got back from. And he's just so talented, so perfect, and great guy.
So Christian, were you an OG Vicki fan? How did you get to, because I remember her big party, she hosted a lot of fans, right? And a lot of people. So tell me how you became a fan of the show and of Vicki.
Yeah, I mean, I was a late bloomer to Housewives in general. You might think that based off my enthusiasm for it now that it has been there since day one, but no, I came in very late. I didn't start watching Housewives until probably 2013, 2014. I was dating a guy in college and was at his house one day. He was still getting ready. He had Housewives of Atlanta on the TV. And I'll never forget Kenya Moore in a red dress twirling across the street. And I said, this is fucking nuts and I need more of it. Where can I find it? And he was like, you know what? It's a whole story. It starts at this place called Orange County, started about 10 years ago. And I made an effort. I went back and watched everything in order, every single season. I was obsessed. Like, I mean, I think that's probably why I graduated college a little bit late, because my priorities were definitely shifted there towards the end. But no, I remember from the beginning, and people have always asked me, you know, why Vicki? Why Vicki? Why she's your favorite? My answer is always the same. She's the funniest person I've ever met. I even if she wasn't like a favorite housewife, I can't not watch her and not laugh my ass off at something she says, does, or just something unfortunate that happens to come her way in life, whether it be falling on a surfboard or, God knows what. So, I just always took I had a connection with her. I think I see a lot of my mom in her, because my mom is the hardest worker I've ever known. Like, my mom will literally be throwing up sick and like forcing herself to sit at work. Like, she can't stop working. They're very much family oriented. They're very much, woohoo, let's have a good time. So I think maybe that was some of it. And, it was just years of loyalty and support. And then when they decided to make that god awful decision in season 14 and demote Vicki, I said, now's my chance. Do I side with the network or scream from the rooftops and say, you messed up? And that's exactly what I decided to do. And I think through that, it was someone that worked with Vicki, saw my content and was helping Vicki like book stuff for her podcast and stuff back in the day. And so she had me on as a guest. We followed each other there. And then the rest
became friends.
And when she called and asked me to do this, I was like, oh my God, I want to tell everybody, but I don't want to jinx it. We need to move fast because I cannot keep this in. Yeah.
That is so funny. No, when I first saw the announcement, I was like, this makes so much sense.
It really does.
So much sense. Because Christian, I've been following you for years now, and you make the best Bravo content and great content. And there's always so much love for Vicki, which Vicki, as you know, we're huge fans of you. So I
love my love tank.
The love tank is full.
Well, as we all know, the Tres Amigas became the Dos Amigas. You guys sadly are parted right now. Where are you and Shannon at? How have you been supporting her this season? Because it's been tough for Shannon.
Poor Shannon. I am a Shannon believer. Like, her mom and I texted when Shannon got in the accident, and I brought her to Coda de Casa, which nobody goes from Newport Beach to Coda de Casa. It's like another country in their mind. And I'm like, you're coming here with Archie. Nobody's gonna know you're here, because the paparazzi were outside her house. It was so stupid. So I brought her there, took her, she had a broken nose and broken arm. And I mean, she was really banged up. Her leg was really banged up, but she rested and she stayed. And I said, listen, you're safe with me. I will never tell anybody you're here. Because now nobody knew yet. It wasn't really public. It was public that she got a DUI, but beyond that, it wasn't. And her mom texted me and said, thank you for taking care of my daughter. I can't be there for her. And I'm like, I got her, I think people in California don't really understand when I got you, I got you. I'm from the Midwest. My friends are my family. And I told Shannon, you can trust me. I'm never going to hurt you. I'm never going to betray you. Don't hurt me and don't betray me, and it's equal. So she has leaned on me through different things that I'm not going to share, but she had a tough season. And who would have ever freaking thought that John Jansen and her would break up? Because we're eating dinner together, John and Shannon and Michael and I were eating dinner after the accident, and 10 days after that or so, we called her and said, I can't be with you anymore. And 10 days after that, he's with Alexis. I mean, it was just like lickety split. So and now they're engaged. Good for them. I give them 5 years. And
if they're lucky.
I honestly think that's more generous than what I would have expected from you.
Well, I did it for Megan and Jim, and they were 5 years and 1 day. So I'm just fucking that. I don't think they'll last as long. And I question if they'll even get married, but good for them. They're happy. I love. But the fact that they're obsessed with Shannon is just disgusting. And Shannon is a class act. She's a quality people. And she wants the same thing that most people want. We want love and we want kindness and want people around us that support us. So I am 100% behind Shannon. I feel bad for her. Tamra has not done her well. The Tres Amigas were the Tres Amigas. And Tamra thought she had to quit the Tres Amigas because Shannon got DUI. One has nothing to do with the other. This was a comedy show. This was fun. And it had nothing to do with the DUI. We don't condone drinking and driving. Even when we did our entree in the very beginning, we'd say, cocktails are here, make sure you Uber, don't drink and drive, now let's have fun. And that's, that's our stance. Shannon, unfortunately, fell victim to a drinking and driving situation, but it doesn't mean she's a bad person. She made a bad decision. So Tamra decided to exit out right in the middle of we had a whole platform, we had an LLC, we had t-shirts, we had all this stuff. So, and she didn't even bother to call Shannon and I, she called our manager. So, we had a bank account. It was a business for us. And so Shannon and I sat down, we said, okay, we can either fold it or continue it. So we decided to continue it. We've got 2 shows coming up, and we're going to do like 1 or 2 shows every other month. We're not obsessed with it, but we have fun with it. And our fans love it. And it's not about getting drunk. And Tamra wanted to make it about getting drunk. That's not what it is. So that's my 2 cents on that one.
I don't want to get too into this, but I do just want to throw this out there because speaking of Tamra, it looks like the 2 of you guys are in like a little bit of a tiff on social media. Is there anything you want to clear up?
I have no desire to cry on social media and do what she's doing. Somebody told me that she's doing videos with her face, going through the transition. I am all about family. And when I said that with Christian, it was, I would do anything. If my daughter decided tomorrow, I pissed her off about something and said, Mom, get off the show, stop showing your tits and stop embarrassing the family, I would do all 3 of those. That's all I was saying. And it's not to hurt Tamra. It's not to hurt her daughter. It's just the facts. Her daughter was embarrassed by some actions that Tamra was doing. Then get off the show. Get off the show, because family is more important than money. And that's why people do the show, is because we get paid a lot of money at our time being on. And I would walk away from every dollar and I'd give it all back if I would get Brianna back. If God forbid, she got mad at me about something and didn't talk to me, I would like get on a plane, fly there and just say, we have to fix this right now. But that's all I was saying. It was not meant to hurt Tamra. I don't want to hurt Tamra. I don't come from a place of anger or hurt. I just don't want to be friends with somebody that can be that mean to somebody. She was so mean to Shannon. She kept saying, I didn't do anything to Vicki. It's who you are. And you're being so mean. And the meanness I'm tired of it. If it's not me, it's Shannon, it's Jen, it's Heather. It's like every season, it's exhausting. So that's all. I wish her well, but I can't be around people like that. There's no space for it.
We've seen you guys have rough patches of friendship. This might be the darkest time for you guys, but is there ever a way back?
I don't know. When I'm not working with her right now, and I always went back because I needed my job and I wanted my job. And Bravo doesn't want to be filming, just like with Teresa and Melissa. You can't reality show if you're not friends with the people you're working with. So for me, it was always like, suck it up, buttercup, apologize when I didn't need to. I apologized to her to try to get back into social graces with her on the TV show about Brooks. I had no apology that I had to do, but my producer said, go apologize to Tamra on the beach over at Kelly's. I'm like, what am I apologizing for? This happened to me. It didn't happen to anybody but me. And so I did. I asked her for forgiveness and she's like, yeah, I'll forgive you. And then we moved forward. But I was like, in my heart, I was like, what the hell am I asking her for an apology for? It was because I wanted to move on the show and I wanted to show the viewers that, I was willing to put it behind me. That makes sense?
That makes sense.
It does.
Christian, as a super fan, like, what's your
take?
Yeah.
I mean, if you would have told me 10 years ago that Vicki and Shannon or Vicki and Tamra would be in another fight, and I might somewhat be in the loop of it all, I would have told you you're damn crazy, but here we are.
Yeah.
Listen, I do want to say something, but before I comment as a viewer, Vicki and I had many conversations before we started this podcast that we never wanted to hurt anyone's feelings. She and I can be catty and silly and, throw it right back at you with the best of them. We really can. I understand that Tamra is hurt. I understand that what Vicki said, probably to some people who maybe without context, it looks like Vicki just decided after all these years to just go below the belt for no reason. We were having a conversation about the history of the behavior that Tamra does to people on the show and why that might lead into people being fearful to go back at her. And that despite there being a plethora of things that is public knowledge that people could use against her. You see what I'm saying? And so we were just saying, it's like, how can you hurt people intentionally, knowing that if someone said this and said this and said this, like that would make you very upset,
Right.
And I understand that obviously it's blown up into a thing, but we were talking just about the fairness of it all. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I will be honest. I mean, Tamra continues to throw it out to people, but the moment it's ever put back at her, she is now crying on social media for the last 3 days.
It's so ridiculous. It's like,
I mean, again, we never want to hurt anybody, but we were having a conversation about the reality of the show, and that some of these women, both current and past, probably don't feel comfortable going at her solely because they know what waits on the other side for them if they do. That was
exactly right, Christian. Exactly right. I have a soft spot in my heart for Tamra because of our history, but I don't like who she's become. And she's become a mean girl. She's become, the way she's treated Shannon. I mean, are you serious? You're calling her a C word and you're yelling at her. Like,
That was bad.
How did this become Tamra's problem? This isn't Tamra's problem. But she made it her problem. She had to get involved because she doesn't talk about her family. She doesn't talk about her marriage. It's always about everybody else. And that's why I was saying, like, people are scared of her. I'm not scared of her anymore. I used to be, but I'm not scared of her. I just want her to leave, just like she wants me to leave her family alone. I want her to leave me alone.